Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today's video is going to be a little bit weird, a little bit not my usual type of video. As some of you may know, I actually do resin art as well as polymer clay art, and a video that I have been meaning to do is actually how I put pictures into resin. This is actually a requested video. I know I did a live stream of it on Facebook earlier this year, and a few people have been asking me, like, how do you get rid of the bubbles, things like that. So I decided I would do an actual video for everybody, and I will apologise if you can hear like the wind blowing. I've got windows open. My son is upstairs in his room being noisy. I've just literally run upstairs and, tried to calm him down. So yes, I am out of breath from running upstairs to sort him out. But yes, today's video is all about putting pictures into resin, and what I use is I use the Texit A4 personal laminator. This is kind of like a cheap bog standard laminator that you can buy off Amazon. I will put a link to this product and any products that I use throughout this video in the description. So if you're interested in what I use, they're not like affiliate links or anything like that. They're just products that I use, and you might be interested in checking them out. So obviously I use a laminator. You can do this with a iron and various different ways of doing that. You can use an iron and a tea towel and laminator sheets. That can be problematic. You have to get the temperature just right, and you still get edges where they don't fully seal. But as you can see, the actual laminator sheet that I'm using is quite big. This is like the smallest size that I have. So yeah, this is the image that I'm going to be laminating to put into resin. This is actually one from a photography art piece that I did. So as you can see, I've already cut it out. I just need to laminate it. So with the laminator, you want to wait till it gets really hot. Obviously it is hot, it's been on for a little while, so it's kind of just turned the light off, and the light's just come back on. So I'm just going to feed it through. So the thing with resin is that you want to make sure that your pictures are completely sealed, and the first thing I do is make sure that I seal it in the laminator first, in the laminator page first, and I'll explain how I do it as I go along. So this is the first kind of like seal, and the reason I say it's the first seal is because I do it twice. Like once it's fully through, like fully laminated, I will be also cutting this image out so it fits in the actual mould. And then when that's done, once that's cut out, I will be putting it through the laminator purely because I want it to be completely sealed. So as you can see, that is sealed. And if you look closely when you laminate something, you generally get like a little edge. That is still where there's air, so you want to avoid that as much as possible. So as you can see, this will fit perfectly in the mould, so I just need to cut it out. And I shall do that now. Now the thing with me is I tend to be heavy-handed when I cut, which ends up meaning that I cut into those areas that have the air. However, that's another reason why I do the second pass through the laminator, as it were, so that I can make sure that it's completely sealed. I'm not really bothered if I have lots of laminator sheet on this piece, because I'm actually going to add a background to this resin piece. So the first layer is going to be clear, and then the second layer is going to be okay. Second layer is going to be coloured. So move that out of the way. So that is the cutout laminated piece, and all I just do is put it back through the laminator. And it comes out no problem. And just check. There's no edges that are kind of too close. Okay. What I am going to do is put it through like this, just because there's one little edge that I'm a little bit concerned about. This is just so I make sure that it's fully sealed. There we go. Yeah. So that is the fully laminated picture. So what I'll do is I'll turn off my laminator and just move that out the way so it can cool down. Right, that's the laminator out the way. So as you can see, the picture's ready for putting into the resin. Obviously I haven't mixed the resin yet. I use epoxy 2-part resin, so I'll be putting a mask on and gloves on. But yeah, that is the picture, just ready for putting into the resin. Obviously this is the mould, and the idea is that the picture will go this way up into the mould, so it'll look nice. So it'll have that as the actual front, and then I'll do a layer of clear resin, which will be the base layer. Then I'll put this on top, and there's like time frames of when I kind of put things in resin. I find that if the actual resin is a little bit tacky, that is probably the best time to actually stick the resin in. So yeah, I'm just going to get my gloves, put my mask on, and mix up some resin, and then I shall be back. Okay, so I've poured out the 2 parts of resin, part A and part B. I'm doing a mix of 55 and 55. The resin I use, which is epoxy resin, the type that I use is 1:1 ratio. You can get a 2 to 1 ratio as well as various others. So as you can see, that they're not actually mixed yet. So there's like this 2 kind of separate colour way. So all I'm going to do is literally mix them together, and this generally takes about 5 minutes, and there'll be lots of bubbles because I don't mix slowly. Some people say, oh, mix slowly, mix like this, mix like that. I actually find the best way of mixing is mixing like you're stirring coffee. I do say, you know, get the sides, because, you know, there's no point wasting resin. And it will go clear. So basically my task is to get it clear. Now that could take 5 minutes, that could take 10 minutes. I can tell it's starting to get clear. Some people say mix one way only. I don't think it really honestly matters as long as it gets mixed properly. As long as you fully have it mixed together. So as you can probably tell, it's still milky. However, I can tell it's clearing because I've started seeing my hand in the other side of the cup. It's just going to take a long while. See, the weather takes into like play with resin because it's quite wet outside, quite windy. So, and although the house is warm, the weather will have an effect on resin making. So doesn't matter if it's really warm outside or really warm in your house. When you've got windows open, which I do have, it will pick up on the damp in the air. Okay, so this seems to be taking a little while to actually get fully clear. I can tell that it's starting to get clear. However, I think it's going to take a little too long for my liking. So what I tend to do is I get my hot air gun, and I will apologise if it's noisy for everybody. I just kind of warm it up. This makes it a little bit more liquidy, a little bit more easier to work with. See, it's already starting to get pretty clear, but not as clear as I would like it. So, so what you want to do is try and get the cold resin from the bottom up to the top so it gets fully mixed in, and you'll feel it change temperature as you're doing that, which will also make it go a bit clearer. Now I think this is as clear as I'm going to get it, because I think a lot of the milkiness is now because of bubbles. So, as you can probably see, there is a lot of bubbles in here, and as you can also see, it is pretty clear. Now, the reason it still looks milky is because of all the bubbles. Now that tells me one of two things: that I mixed it way too quick, but it is fully mixed. So what I'm going to do is let it sit for a few minutes, and I'll come back to it and I'll pour it out into the mould ever so slightly, and then I will basically know what I'm doing by then. Basically what I'll do is I'll wait a few minutes, let some of the bubbles come up to the top, then pour it out into here so there's an even layer. Wait probably 15-20 minutes to put the picture in, and then, you know, if I've got resin left over, I'll add it to other moulds. Waste not, want not. So I shall be back with you guys in a few minutes. So I'm back after a few minutes. I'm sorry the camera's wobbling because I just press play. And as you can see, there's still a lot of bubbles in here, but they're all like micro bubbles rather than larger bubbles, which is okay. You know, we can deal with that. So yeah, I'm just going very carefully, move this over here, and just add a layer of resin. Okay. So although it looks clear in the actual mould right now, what I'm going to do is go take the air gun and just get rid of all the bubbles carefully so I don't melt my mould. Okay. What I'll also do is get rid of any like fluff that's in the actual resin itself from the mould. And any larger bubbles that haven't been popped, I'll just bring to the surface. Okay. So that is the actual resin poured and ready. There's virtually no bubbles apart from like micro bubbles that are in the actual like edge, but they should pop quite naturally. They'll come up to the surface quite naturally. Now I'm just going to move this to one side and show you how I mix and pour in like larger molds using the same resin. So I'm going to just use some nice micro powder. This is actually a nice yellow micro powder. Now I kind of eyeball it for what I want. There we go. It's probably too much micro powder, but oh well. They'll give a nice, full, rich colour. And the thing with micro powder is that when you use micro powder, it doesn't really matter so much if you have bubbles, because they're not as noticeable. I will apologise, my nose is running. I sneezed a few minutes before pressing play. Now, the other thing with micro powder is you want to make sure that it is fully mixed in. I'd say that's fully mixed. It's got a good rich colour, as you can see. So this is the mould that I am going to be filling. It's a little runic mould. So yeah, hopefully it'll have enough for this side of the moulds. Oops, it's a little bit too much. Okay, well, I think we have enough for at least one of these. Which one should we do? Do that one. So that is the actual resin when I pour it into moulds. Obviously with mica powder, I very rarely use the hot glue gun unless I have like a air bubble actually on the surface, which on none of these I have any air bubbles on, so I'm pretty relaxed about that. These are going to be key rings probably that I'll sell on my Etsy store once that's up and running, which hopefully later this week it should be. So by the time this video gets up, there should be an Etsy store down in the description box as well. Now, when it comes to this, I'm probably going to give it another few minutes, probably 10 more minutes, and then I'll be back to actually put the picture in. So I'll be back then. So as you can tell, I am back. I've basically been keeping an eye on this. It is just coming into this like little bit tacky stage, as you can probably see by me dabbing my finger in. It's not as tacky as I'd normally wait. Usually I wait till it's like quite thick, but I'm going to put the picture in now. So I'm literally just going to put the picture in and squish it in, making sure that no bubbles or anything gets stuck underneath. And what I'll also do, kind of make sure that a little bit of resin actually gets over the top of it. So as you can see, it's kind of fully in now. There's a couple of little bubbles there, which I will get rid of now. So as you can see, it is now in. What I'm going to do is I'm now going to kind of wait till tomorrow. And I will do another layer of resin on top of this, which will be a coloured resin, because this will then be fully sealed. So yeah, I will do another video tomorrow, which will be me putting the second layer on, as well as like the demolding, which will be on, what day is it now? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then you guys will get to see this video on Friday. So yeah, I shall see you guys on Friday with this finished piece. So yeah, I shall see you all then. Hi guys, and it is the next night. As you can probably see, I have put a backing on this piece, so I'm literally going to demold it for you guys. I was going to video me actually putting the blue on this piece, however, things got a little bit hectic and I kind of just wanted to get the resin layer done quick and easy. So as you can see, it is a blue liquid colour rather than a mica colour. Mica colours tend to be more of a solid colour, whereas a liquid colour tends to be more opaque, see-through. So yeah, I'm literally just going to demold this and then you guys can see what has been created. There we go. So this will be up on my Etsy shop. It will have wall hangers on it because it'll be a wall piece. It is still a little bit, feels a little bit sticky on the back. But yeah, it seems fine. There are a few bubbles in it still. You can never be perfect. The actual bubbles are from when I put the actual picture in. So yeah, but they're not that noticeable. Like I think mostly in this corner here. But yeah, I think it looks really great with the background. So yeah, this will be up on my Etsy shop. I said Zazzle store. No, it'll be at my Etsy shop, which I will link in the description below. I have a few more pieces to go up on my Etsy shop. So yeah, I shall see you all next week. Bye!